Hey, what's up? It's Nathan here with thebtccourse.com, and in this video we're going to address the question, so won't the government just stop or ban Bitcoin? So let's get straight into it. So first and foremost, they can't stop Bitcoin because it is truly decentralized and worldwide. So stopping it, it's not going to happen. It's out there already. And basically, if you try and stop it, it would be like stopping the internet. Like, it's not going back in its box. It's here. You need to adapt to it and welcome it and let innovation thrive. And there are definitely worse things than digital money, like torrents and Pirate Bay. Now, torrents aren't illegal, it's just peer-to-peer file sharing, but it's usually used to share like illegal files, and Pirate Bay is one of the companies basically that lets you find those illegal files. And if the government can't shut down Pirate Bay, well, then they can't shut down the transfer of bits on a globally distributed ledger, which is what Bitcoin is. So all it is little bits of information, and so if they can't shut down the legal download of movies and software, then stopping little bits of information, it's just not going to be stopped. So while it can't be stopped, maybe they could still ban it. So I would agree that parts of Bitcoin can be banned relatively easily. For example, mining operations can be banned in certain jurisdictions, like it's been banned in China and New York. So here we go. Here in China, they cracked down. China's share was reduced to 0% in July and August. So China's banned Bitcoin mining like 100 times, and they actually went through with it, and they got it down to where no more Bitcoin were being mined in China for a couple months. But now, the numbers back up to about 22% of the hash power is back in China. So they could only stop it for so long before it came back. And here in New York, the government signs a first of its kind law cracking down on Bitcoin mining. Here's everything that's in it. So yes, certain jurisdictions or locations, they could ban Bitcoin mining. If they don't want Bitcoin miners there, they could ban them, but then they'll just move elsewhere. Like they might move to Texas or the United States, for example. So here we go. Bitcoin miners gain support from Texas with 2 bills passed and 1 halted. 2 bills seem to embrace Bitcoin mining, have been sent to the governor, whereas one that would adversely affect miners was stopped. So that's basically, big wins for Texas, and there's lots of mining going on in Texas and so on. Of course, this is a high-level video, but the concept remains the same, that where one location might kick Bitcoin mining out, another location will welcome it with open arms. And so Bitcoin mining will continue, and there's really no blocking it. And the locations that banned it miss out on jobs from the Bitcoin mining industry and other benefits it can bring, like grid stabilization. So here we see that Bitcoin miners are helping the Texas grid brace for winter storm impact. So there you go. That's not going to be happening in New York, who also has massive winter storms. So they could ban mining, but it's unlikely the best idea as it hinders jobs and innovation in that particular jurisdiction. And, banning mining doesn't stop Bitcoin from happening. So could the government actually ban people from having Bitcoin? And I guess they could try and do that, though I think it's, past event horizon, at least here in the United States. Like, again, like I said, there's no going back. Bitcoin exists. And over 20% of Americans own some form of crypto. You can think most own Bitcoin, at least. Most people start with Bitcoin and then maybe they go get some alt or whatever else. But, that's a large chunk of the American population. Politicians own Bitcoin. So right here we have 9 members of Congress have Bitcoin. And this came out in June of 2022. So that's about 13 months ago. And so there might be even more members of Congress. They're presidential candidates. We have Robert Kennedy and DeSantis, both being pro-Bitcoin. So, a president might be pro-Bitcoin, in the next couple of years. So that's kind of crazy to think about. And if there's a pro-Bitcoin president, it's not going to get banned. And then publicly traded companies like MicroStrategy, Tesla, and Square own Bitcoin as well, and more companies are bringing it on. There's possible ETFs coming into existence, and so on. The point is, with all this momentum, I don't see how they could possibly ban people from owning Bitcoin. Not to mention, all Bitcoin really is cryptographic data. It's literally math and strings of characters. Like, it's nothing crazy or fancy. It's not like a gun or something like that where you could go cause somebody harm. It's a string of characters. That's all you have ownership of, basically. And I don't understand how they could possibly track that, much less enforce you owning that string of characters. And really, honestly, if the government was ever actually going to ban Bitcoin, they had their chance back in 2011. Bitcoin was a year and a half, 2 years old at that point, when WikiLeaks started accepting Bitcoin, like that would have been a good time to like go after Bitcoin and shut this thing down, so that way they could shut down WikiLeaks and anything else bad that was accepting Bitcoin. And or in 2012 with the shutdown of the Silk Road Marketplace. If you don't know, the Silk Road Marketplace was basically a black market where people could buy and sell whatever they wanted. Like, they didn't have to sell illegal items, but there was drugs and weapons and stuff like that being sold through the Silk Road Marketplace. And, you know, they could have went after Bitcoin then. You know, it was very young, 2 to 3 years old at that point, and it would have been a lot easier to shut down. There wasn't this market penetration that it has now with congressmen owning it, 20% of the population owning it, and so on. So that would have been the time to go after Bitcoin and, you know, squash it. But the government didn't ban Bitcoin. All right, they went after the websites. They went after WikiLeaks. They went after Silk Road and the operators of those websites. They didn't go after Bitcoin. They went after the websites doing the bad things with the Bitcoin. So if they couldn't ban Bitcoin 11 or more years ago, then they probably can't do it now with its current rate of adoption. Like, I personally just don't see that happening. And finally, the government couldn't even stop Ripple or XRP, which is eons more centralized and easier to stop than Bitcoin. So this recently came out. The SEC lost its case against Ripple Labs, where they couldn't even shut down this one cryptocurrency that's very centralized and has a CEO and a founder and a marketing team and all that type of stuff going along with it. And basically, it's an unregistered security. Like, the SEC couldn't shut that down. There's no way they can shut down Bitcoin, which is, again, way more decentralized than XRP ever will be. And so, yeah, the point is, I don't see how the government could ever ban Bitcoin, and so I do not see it a risk at all. And of course, if you want more information, I have a bunch of resources over here on my website. So I link to blogs, podcasts, books, and YouTube videos that help me better understand Bitcoin. And that's it for this video. I hope you found it helpful, and I hope you have a great rest of the day.